Welcome back, my fellow gamers. We are at the gates of Mordor. And before we take that last step, I would like to thank you all for supporting me, for giving me all kinds of useful advice during the game, and also the support I needed to keep going. I've had so much positive comments on my last videos, and if you followed my community tab, which you should, I've reached another big milestone, which was 150 subscribers. I would like to thank you all, I really appreciate that. And if you missed previous episodes, playlist will be linked below. As I finished Twin Princes in a surprisingly easy fight, I'm about to dive into that last challenge, the Lord of Cinder. But before I do, I took advice from you guys, and I tracked back to finish off the remaining bosses. I want to do this the right way. So without further ado, let's dig in and see how I fared against them. There are some interesting twists and turns in this episode. Let's go!
So the first place I missed is Smoldering Lake. You get here from High Lord Volnir Bonfire. And as I'm explaining, I would really like to know how the fuck people figure these places out. Like, this one is understandable. You might have hit the bridge and thought, oh, something is happening. Or if you're like me, you could have fallen and seen, oh, there's a whole new world down here. How can I explore it? Or you read the markings on the floor and think, what if? But bear with me, some of the zones in this episode are just mind-blowing. How do you figure that shit out? So for starters, you meet this lovely Balrog, which is an interesting way the game tries to tell you you are in the wrong place. Luckily, I was way too high of a level to even be worried about him. I got the soul of a demon and carried on. And just when I thought it was going to be walk in a park, I got surrounded by an army of skeletons. After rearranging my pockets for optimal healing service, I was ready to take them on, one by one. Now they should not be a problem, but even if kittens in Dark Souls surround you, you never know what might happen. I killed this mimic here, and with them is always a gamble. If you get caught by their grab, you're pretty much toast. Otherwise, you're fine. Got the black blade and carried on. I think I heard they are great for dex builds. Or was it Chaos Blade? Either way, one of them is amazing for dex build, and I'm thinking of trying katanas. I love the fact that they can parry so you don't have to wear the shield. I have Uchigatana maxed out, so I might try it. I got to my next bonfire and was hyped about this zone, until I did manage to limp to this cave in one piece, and I was hoping I would find a way to stop the spears somehow. Like you do in Undead Settlement. Spoiler alert, I never managed to find a way. So let me know in the comments below if there's a way to stop the spears from attacking. I reached this arena, and that means only one thing in Dark Souls. There is a welcoming committee waiting for you. Luckily for me, I'm way over leveled for this. So poor Horus didn't stand a chance. After looting the shit of this place, I was ready to move on, looking for the formidable opponent. And soon enough, I found him in form of crabs and arrows and all the shit the zone has to throw at me. So I returned, picked up my souls, only to lose them around the corner again. Now usually people give up and keep going because you can skip enemies, it's part of the game. They're gonna respawn anyways, but not me. I want to kill them all, like there's an achievement for that. Eventually I gave up, because between the spears flying and crabs attacking from all sides, I don't have time for that. I jumped down into a hole in the ground hoping I can get protection, at least from spears. And I did. But don't think the game gave me some time to breathe. Luckily, even the shielded enemies broke their guard after a couple of swings. Certain he'd strike once my back was turned, I prepared for an unexpected move. Yet, in a twist of fate, the anticipated attack never came. Phew. I then traversed the maze into a secret room, and I finally met the bane of my existence in this game, the shields. I got demolished once more before I used him being busy fighting to take my chance and kill him. the sneaky way. Those of you who know me understand how happy I was to see the exit. Let's just say I hate dungeons. Soon enough, I've reached the boss arena, Old Demon King. And honestly, I would love to give you the tactic for this boss, like I usually do in my videos, but I took 30% of his health before the health bar even showed up. I did dodge some of his attacks, and I think this fire breath could probably kill you early on, but like I said, I didn't have much of a fight actually to work on tactic. On my first playthrough, I started looking for some cheeky ways to get out of sticky situations. Like this huge serpent, which I didn't know how to defeat. So I thought to myself, what will happen if I position myself in a way so that arrows go through the serpent in front of me? Just when I thought it's not gonna work, the magic happened.
So that was the first zone and boss I've missed, and I gotta admit I'm not really a fan of Smoldering Lake. The first part is basically a dungeon. Not really a fan of dungeons. Maybe in the other games, but not in Dark Souls. As soon as you swing, clank, nah, give me something else. The boss was quite easy. I'm pretty sure I bullied my way through him because I was way too strong for him. I believe it would have been much different if I fought him earlier and if the fight lasted a little bit longer. Before I continue, I would like to remind you to check the community tab and vote for the next game I should play. At the moment, Sekiro and Dark Souls 2 are tied up. I hope that will change. If not, I'll just roll the dice and see what happens.
And off to the next zone. And this one didn't have any special entrance. I remember going here through my initial playthrough and I was faced with that monstrosity, so I chickened out. Little did I know that I'm going to end up fighting him. And that he's gonna fuck me up. Ah, the good old roll into the abyss. On the second try, I used the fire bombs to get rid of him, just like you would dealing with the cockroaches. Then I met some lovely shielded knights. All you have to do is get behind. That's what she said. I made a short break to open a door. Little did I know that even standing still in Dark Souls is dangerous. Eventually, the path through courtyard led me to my next boss. And this one was more challenging than the last one. First off, he was much faster. I applied the lightning resin just because I had some in my inventory. Luck was on my side because he was weak to it. But I'm also weak to his attacks. He takes up much more health and my attacks deal significantly less damage compared to Old Demon King. I was testing him and he was testing me. As I noticed, he raises this strange mist, which I guessed is going to kill me, so I moved away. And soon enough, without warning, 2 attacks knocked me cold. Second try, I got him to second phase and man, it was like the first phase on steroids. Charging, jumping, flying, huge AoE tail swings, you name it. I had to carefully plan my attacks so that I have enough stamina to dodge when necessary. I got him very low on this try, but I needed more practice. It took me around 10 tries to get everything right and drop a little bit of knowledge for you. In both phases, stay close to him. Some even suggest being behind as it lowers the chance of charge attack. If he uses his jump attack, roll under him and attack from behind. If you are lucky, you can put some good damage in. Once he enters second phase, he gets much more aggressive, but you keep close to him and behind him to avoid charge attacks. Another attack he does is he flies into the air and breathes ice on the floor. It's easy to dodge sideways. Apart from that, he does some hand slams and bites, which you have to react to fast. And I think he can do up to 3 bite attacks in a row, so be careful before putting your damage in. Next up is another ice breath attack. He kinda leans to his back and swings his head sideways and breathes the ice. If caught by it, you can get frostbite and quite a lot of damage. So it's good to back away as soon as you see him take this position. And there is also a tail swing, which luckily for me he didn't do in this try. But it sure made a lot of trouble for me. I don't know the exact mechanics for it, I would just panic roll and hope for the best. As I progressed, I faced particularly challenging adversary. In my opinion, their level of difficulty rivals that of a jailer's. Only the jailers can be killed with 2 swings, unlike this scarecrow.
So that was the second boss I've missed. I think getting through that courtyard was much more challenge than the boss himself. Of course, I should have faced him earlier, and it would be a much different story. But yeah, another one of those fast bosses that keeps you on your toes. You have to manage your stamina well and plan your attacks carefully. If you watched this far, that means you liked the video, so hit that thumbs up. And if you didn't already, please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell. Let's keep going.
I went about the room swinging my swords at the walls like some kind of a maniac, but honestly it reminded me of those secret rooms I used to find hidden in the walls, and soon enough I have found myself at the familiar zone. Did I start a new game by accident? Who turned off the lights? I would soon explore the same zone from the start, and I reached the same place where I turned my back and ran away for the first time. This time, not just one lizard was enough, but the 2 of them. I figured focusing one fast before they go ballistic would be a good strategy. I soon ran out of stamina, so I had to switch the tactic. And with refined skills in the game, I defeated both of them without much effort. Yay me! I then proceeded further, reaching my next boss, Champion Gundyr, which resembles the first boss, but on steroids. He also has similar moves like jumping attacks, spinning leg kicks, and his crown smash attack that leaves him open for a couple of attacks. I was very confident until I reached the second phase. He just started swinging like a madman, and hence on the steroids part. It took me about 5 tries to get used to his attacks, and at this point I even got so close to killing him. But I was too greedy for that last finishing blow. Armed with my newfound wisdom and keep calm and swing just once attitude, I was all set to face him again. I knew exactly what to do and how to do. Just had to be patient and everything would be perfect. And then it turned out to be most disappointing try ever. I barely scratched him. Great. So with the latest update to my newfound wisdom, one of many if I may add, I faced him with additional knowledge base for you guys. FYI, I'm not assuming the gender. My YouTube analytics say that 100% of my viewers are male. Talk about the sausage party. So anyways, Gundyr opens a fight with a jumping attack which you can dodge slightly to the side and roll behind him for an attack. Now you should do better and use just one roll to position yourself behind him. That way you can maybe put 2 attacks. Next up is his grab, so you have to be careful with this one. If he grabs you, he then impales your sorry ass and throws it away from him and deals a lot of damage, physical and emotional. I would suggest rolling through the grab, kinda like Dancer, and position yourself behind him for attack. Now, I don't know if this is a viable tactic, but it worked for me. Next are his thrusting attacks, which you can dodge to the opposite side of his weapon-wielding hand, which positions you well for an attack. Another tricky attack is his double slam. Now I want to show you how a rushed roll looks like. As you can see, I rolled a bit too early and dodged the first attack, but the second one pulled me up in the air. Now you can either dodge a bit later or use 2 rolls. I did none of that and paid a hefty price. As he enters the second phase, he gets pissed. The moveset remains the same with a couple of new attacks, but he is way more aggressive, so I would suggest attacking just once, every opportunity you get. Due to his aggressiveness, it's hard to find a good time to heal, so I would suggest to heal up after attacks like this that leave him open for a bit longer. Jumping attacks are good for dealing damage. Just roll under him and position yourself behind. Patience is the key here. As long as he's swinging like crazy, there's a little chance you can squeeze an attack in between his attacks. Your best bet is when he slams the ground and it opens him for a bit longer. One attack, then dodge. I noticed keeping close to him sometimes negate the damage completely. You can try exploring these options. For me, it was just a couple of lucky strikes. Once again, key is the patience. Like a marathon, you make small steps towards the victory, and you know that each step will lead you to the finish line.
It's funny how when I started to play this game, I would blame the game for every single step I do wrong. And I would say that the game is stupid, that it doesn't make sense and all that. But the more I play it, the more I understand that each boss has a learning curve. At first, you're like, what the fuck is happening? I can't do this. It's too much. Why do I need this in my life? But then you begin noticing patterns. Then you learn how to respond to them. Piece by piece, the puzzle starts making sense. Eventually, you know what needs to be done. You're simply waiting for the opportune moment. Realize this early and the better off you'll be. Because that's when the fun begins. I would love to hear about your first Dark Souls experience. Was it frustrating? Easy? Hard? Did you have an epiphany like I did? And did this game change the way you approach games in general? Let me know in the comments below. For me, the other games feel too easy now. For example, I'm playing God of War Ragnarok at the same time, and don't get me wrong, the game is amazing. But the blocking stuff becomes child's play after you play Dark Souls. So 2 more bosses remaining. And I'm gonna leave each episode for 1 boss. Well, basically we have 2.5 bosses. And in the next episode, you're gonna see why is that. They are absolutely amazing fights, so I wanted to give them the proper respect they deserve. If you missed an episode, there will be a playlist named Rise the Ashen One on my channel. You can go check that, and also it will be a link below. As always, until next time, may your gaming sessions be epic and victories plentiful.